Serious, what was a normal part of your life growing up that other people were shocked by? My parents showed love, support, and financial stability. Came as a shock to my wife. Whenever my friends would come over, I would tell them about the rules you had to follow when talking to my dad. This would include, agree with everything he says. Don't speak unless asked a question. Always try and answer, don't say I don't know. Don't cry when he has a go at you etc. Took a few friends meeting my dad then refusing to come round again being picked up early because they were upset. To realize that most kids don't live in constant fear of a parent. And don't have a set rules in order to keep said parent calm and happy. The amount of trips to the liquor store. When I was young, nearly every time I got in the car with my mom or dad, the story was the same. We're going to stop at the liquor store then home. Sometimes when I'd switch parents, they were divorced, I'd stop at the liquor store twice. Once each way. One day I was at a sleepover at a friend's house whose parents weren't extreme alcoholics. We ran errands on 3 or 4 separate times and didn't stop at the liquor store. 8-year-old me was so confused. On the final trip I poked my head up between the front seats. And trying to be helpful and remind them said, aren't we going to stop at the liquor store? And the parents looked at me like I had 2 heads. No. I was so confused I just got out of the van and went inside. I feel this one. My family made daily trips to the liquor store and the convenience store for cigarettes. A car hotboxed with cigarette smoke was my normal. I've never had a family dinner at home. We just all get our food at different times and eat in separate locations. One time I made a new friend from middle school and invited him over. We just had a normal evening of pizza and video games and watching early internet flash movies. My parents would check up on us, but just let us be and watched TV in the living room by themselves quietly. As the evening went on, he got kinda weird and withdrawn and then took me aside to ask if me and my family were a bunch of effing Bible thumpers, to which I incredulously replied no to. He basically explained that the lack of skin flicks lying around, loud arguments, strange people coming over, and holes punched in the walls was extremely off-putting to him. That sort of constant instability and chaos was completely normal and something that regular average people did. And my quiet boring home life was a total outlier. It was kinda hard for us to be friends after that and we drifted apart really fast. I hope he's doing alright. Kneeling on rice as a punishment for just about anything. Mom would throw a few handfuls of rice in a corner and you had to kneel on it for 20 minutes to an hour. Hands behind your back. And don't you dare try to lean on that wall or you'd get smacked in the back of the head and into the wall and your time would start over. Afterwards you'd have to clean it up including any blood from broken skin, and then often you'd have to help make dinner or do whatever chore as if nothing happened. I never once saw my parents fight or yell. I can only recall one time that they were even sort of huffy with each other. Lucky you, you know how uncomfortable it is when parents argue, yell each other in front of you. I grew up in this rickety old farmhouse in the middle of Minnesota. It was really cold a lot of the year. And our upstairs didn't have insulation. So we didn't have any heat upstairs. We'd sleep with an electric blanket and loads of other blankets heaped on top. When I woke up in the mornings, there would sometimes be frost on my walls because it was so cold and the windows didn't keep the cold out very well. It would also sometimes get to -50 degrees Fahrenheit and then school would automatically be cancelled because kids couldn't wait outside at the bus stop. And sometimes mom would take us outside to blow bubbles on really cold days. The bubbles would freeze in midair and fall to the ground and shatter. My friend's boyfriend were all shocked by this stuff. Doesn't get anywhere near as cold where we live now. Grew up with 7 siblings. 5 brothers and 2 girls. Between the brothers we had just 4 pairs of shoes, which meant that at least 2 of us had to stay at home. Went to school barefoot for almost a week before they called child services. Man. I'm surprised the school didn't just send you home. Most schools are kinda trash like that. My alcoholic father addressing me as parasite from the age of 10. A hopeless power play from a insecure man. I'm sorry for all the times he has called you that. I never took a vacation or seasonal trip with family as a kid. We just never had the money for it. When I tell people this, they're appalled that I've never been to Disneyland, beautiful islands or foreign countries in my youthful summers. Guess a lot of people I know can't fathom the idea that some families are poor. That, and I've moved around a lot. Went to like 4 or 5 elementary schools and 3 middle schools. Just trying to find the next cheapest place to live. When I was a kid I lived on a traveler site, that is a caravan park for gypsy and or Irish travelers. But I didn't tell anyone because I wanted to be normal. The teachers put me into the special class automatically with all the slow or deaf kids. I think people didn't expect me to be intelligent or enjoy reading and drawing. I'm a professional now and people are shocked I came from that background. Someone said I looked like a pikey the other day, lol. I grew up ultra-orthodox Jewish, so a lot of stuff. No TV. No internet. No video games. Speaking Yiddish at home. Laying motionless on the Sabbath, pretty much forbidden to do anything, etc. I had a similar situation. We did have TV and internet, but just all the holidays. Kosher laws. Weekends being all about Shabbos. Wearing kippahs. And so on being a normal part of life until I went to college. Holy sh, what a culture shock it was. Especially the fact that you can get stuff done on the weekends. That my personal pet was a bear. Up in Alaska I hand-fed a black bear sandwiches as I got off the bus. Eventually he got bold and started coming to our porch. I fed him some salmon and he never left. That was until a female black bear came onto our property and he left with her. Apparently black bear cubs will get kicked out of the nest. So we basically took him in. He was malnourished. And then he went off to start a family. I've never had my own room. I grew up in one-roomed apartment with mum, dad, elder brother, a dog and a cat. We never had much space there, but a lot of furniture that was really necessary. People didn't understand why I never invite friends to my home. That jealousy when somebody complains about parents entering their room without knocking. I didn't know I was in a very religious family until I found out how abnormal it was in college. Like my family and I never missed Sunday Mass. We used to celebrate every first Friday of the month by dressing up nicely to go to Latin Mass, which was like the original language said in the first Catholic Masses. We prayed the rosary a lot. And during the Lenten season we would go around churches to offer more rosaries and prayers. Plus our family has like 4 priests and 5 nuns. Now that I'm older though, a lot of the stuff we used to do happens less often. Although I still haven't missed Sunday Mass. As a kid, having Christmas a day early cause I'm German. I always bragged about it. Kids were so jealous. Joke's on me. Though, when I wanted to play with my new toys with friends, they were having Christmas. My gran is German and she insisted that when we go to her place for Christmas that we do it the German way. I remember being super excited to get to open my presents early. But then super bored on Christmas Day when there was nothing to do. Traveling. My parents were divorced and my dad would fly my sister and I to wherever he was working once roughly every 2 years. Sure. It was cool to travel and go to Dubai, Egypt and Vietnam before I was 15, but I only got to see my dad for 2 weeks every 2 years. I just wanted to see my dad. Man. This is fairly mild. My dad extensively renovated our house. He made every bench top, door frame, window, shelf, desk, sink, shower, cupboard or drawer at a comfortable height for us. Our ceilings were 9 feet. My family is well over 6 feet with my dad topping out at 6 feet 6. When people first came to my house they were shocked by the height of everything. We had little stools in the bathroom for short guests. We even had to get step stools in the children's room because our normal height friends had issues getting on the couch when my siblings and I were younger. My house was the stuff of legend on the yard. We even had a giant dog which to us was normal sized. I have never been as comfortable in a house as I was in my childhood home. That's awesome and hilarious at the same time.